It's A Wee Natter, I'm Marc Steele, and across the table from me should be Jenny Steele, but unfortunately she is on a super duper secret mission. That means unfortunately she can't be with us right this very second, but she will be joining us for a huge, massive, absolutely big announcement thing that we're doing much later on in this fine radio show here on Bowe Radio, Fashion Town Radio, Mixcloud, Twitch. However you are joining us, there is a big announcement coming along later. I probably shouldn't overegg it. It's big for us. Let's put it that way. We've got a budget of £3.50 and a pack of disco, so it's big for us, so you know it's going to be big, but not as big as the whole Oasis ticket thing. Yeah, it went on sale, what was it, yesterday? Saturday morning? Everyone was rushing for Oasis tickets. I definitely maybe didn't get any, but looking at how it all played out, and some people paying like thousands of pounds for tickets and things like that, I think what should have happened is they just went, right, this big giant car park outside one of the big stadiums, everyone's got to turn up there 9 o'clock Saturday morning. There are however many thousand tickets available. Everyone has to pay a couple of quid to get in, and it's winner takes them all. You know, just to have a big bun fight in the car park, see what happens. See, I think that would have been slightly more organised than what happened with the actual online sale of Oasis tickets. But keeping the whole Oasis thing going, I think we've got to go for what might be described as a better band and Blur, Country House. It's A Wee Natter on Fashion Town Radio, on Bowe Radio as well. Happy Sunday evening to you. Singing a line that should sound like you could turn it into sweary words. Country House from Blur. And I have tried for many more hours than I should have, because I'm quite silly like that, dear listener. And you can't make them say it. It turns out their inability to pronounce the word country means you can't make it sound ruder than it actually is. There you go. It's A Wee Natter for Bowe Radio, Fashion Town Radio 2. I'm Marc Steele. Thanks for joining me this fine Sunday evening, playing great songs for you, bringing the company of spiders from this fine radio studio, and also bringing you the postbag, because you have sent your communiques, dear listener, when last week we were asking about, and it was a bit of a strange question, but we're asking about what did you screw up and are still embarrassed about today? Or maybe you're not embarrassed about today, but it's a screw up story that you wanted to share with us. A few of you have been in touch, including Jackie Burton, saying, over 50 years ago, while I was at primary school, I jumped on the back of somebody I knew. Oh, we've all done that sort of horsing around thing where we go, oh, guess who it is? And you know, in films it's cover the eyes, and then you go, oh, that wasn't the person they were supposed to be doing that to, did they? Well, Jackie did exactly that in real life. Still so embarrassed, I think about it all these years later. It sounds like something straight out of a movie, Jackie. It's unreal, isn't it? How real life has mimicked the movies, or is it the other way around? Movies mimic real life. Sam Killam's also in touch, saying, I would say for me the most embarrassing thing that happens loads is when you walk down the street and somebody's walking the opposite direction to you and they nearly bump into each other. Now, that's an easy one to get around. There's a little trick, right, where what you do is you don't look at the person you're walking towards, you look past them, and they think you haven't seen them, so they'll move out of your way. It's a brilliant wee trick, works surprisingly well, and it's like one of those life hacks when you figure it out. But the more embarrassing thing is when you have somebody driving past, tooting on a horn, or they're walking past and they wave it towards you as if to say, hello mate, how are you? You know, that kind of stuff. And it turns out it wasn't for you, it was for the person behind you. I have done that countless times, and every time I just go red-faced and go, yeah, nobody actually friends with me. Why did I think it would be me? Also in touch, Vicky Fairweather saying, going to the entrance of a shop with my mum. I was going to hold her hand. There was one other woman there. I think we know where this is all going, dear listener. And I suddenly decided I was sure I could find my mum's hand with my eyes closed. So I closed my eyes, and you can guess whose hand I got. Was it a security guard by any chance? That's who I'm guessing on that one. Oh dear. And on a slightly different note, first impressions. They say they're made in seconds, but we're going to find out about yours after this one from Savage Garden.
She's taking
Savage Garden, Flying You to the Moon and Back. I guess that's going one better than Boeing are managing at the moment with the Starliner. Yeah, that's not going so well, is it? Yeah. Imagine being one of the astronauts on that trip. You get onto the rocket, they fly you up into space, and then you're up there and they go, the rocket didn't work as well as we thought it would. You're going to have to be up there for a wee while. You're going to have to be up there through Christmas. You'd be a little bit teed off if that happened. And also mentioning in relation to Savage Garden, Vicky Fair, we were saying thanks for playing it. I love this one. Glad to hear it. When I say talking about the chat, well, we are live on the radio. We're on Mixcloud.com and we're on Twitch TV where you can watch the radio as well. I know it's crazy. And you get all sorts of questions like trying to work out what's on Mark's t-shirt. It looks like microphones. Well, dear listener, it's a little mystery we will leave to the end of the show. But if you want a wee hint as to what is on my t-shirt, all I'm going to say is Guinness. And I'll leave you to work that one out. And it is not little glasses of Guinness on there. And another question is being asked, has anyone ever had false nails? And that's one of those things where I've never tried it myself. I'm assuming this is Jenny that's joined in the conversation. That's this one, dear listener. It's not something I've tried myself, and I think it's the sort of thing I go, yeah, that's a lot of effort, and yeah, maybe I won't be doing that anymore. But I've never tried it, so I don't know. But there are some things where I have given them a shot, and it turned out it wasn't a brilliant plan. Like, one of the first jobs I ever had was a sales job. It was working in retail, and I had to sell electricals to people and go, yeah, do you want a fridge freezer? Great. Do you want a 5-year warranty on it? Nope. Okay, well, glad to hear it. I'm not very good at convincing people to spend more money than they need to spend. I'm the sort of person that will give you enough advice to get you over the line, but I don't like being pushy. So it's kind of the wrong thing for me, and I learned very quickly it was a very good idea. It's to the point where if, let's say I've got my car for sale on Gumtree or something like that, and somebody actually gives me a couple £100 for it, I'm in shock. I'm surprised. So sales was one of those things. I tried it once. I worked out, it's not a very good idea for me. Another one that worked out like that was trying to be a morning person. So I came up with this cunning plan. I'd get up at silly o'clock in the morning. I was going to try going out for a jog before going to work, get a bit of exercise in, and it all worked out, all planned. The alarm went off 3 times and I slept in later than I would have normally. So I want to open this one up to you, dear listener. What's something that you've tried once and figure out very quickly, this is not for me. No, this is not a good plan. I want to hear your stories. Give me a call, Mansfield 01623 888 730. You can text me 073 79 78 49 00, or you can email requests at bowradio.co.uk. What are those things that you tried once and it turned out not to be a good plan? As much as there's a cracking wee song by Green Day, could you imagine being the lead singer, Billy Joe Armstrong? In the days of social media that we're in now, he goes to flip his calendar over, he sees September there and goes, oh my God, not again. Because you just know exactly what everyone's going to do at the end of the month. They're going to go, wake up, it's the end of September. Still a great wee song, though, from Green Day. Wake me up when September ends. A Wee Natter on Bowe Radio. Thanks for joining me this fine Sunday evening, where we're asking all sorts of wee and wonderful questions, including about the things you tried once and went, yeah, that wasn't such a good idea. Jenny's been in touch saying cooking. I put a lasagna in the oven and pulled out a cottage pie. I know they've both got meat in them, and I know they've both got sauce on them, but surely they're different enough. You can tell the difference between a tatty on top and pasta on top, can you? Or is it possible to make pasta look like tatties? I don't know. Oh, and also in touch, we have had Pond Life 21 taking a shot at what sort of t-shirt I'm wearing, because you can watch the radio, dear listener. You can join us on Mixcloud or Twitch TV, and you get to see the fine t-shirt that I am wearing, which has well, I'm not going to tell you till the end of the show what's on it. I did give you a hint. It's something to do with Guinness, but it's not Guinness itself. And Pond Life did take a shot at it and got the correct answer as to what is on my t-shirt.
Covers versus originals.
Indeed, is that part of the show where we put you, yes, you, in charge of the playlist, dear listener, because I've got a cover version of a song, I've got an original version of a song that you have to choose between. I know, it's tricky, it's difficult, it's a lot of pressure to be putting on your shoulders, but this time round I'm going to put Meatloaf up against Celine Dion. Yes, the song It's All Coming Back to Me Now, which it's admittedly a bit of a long song, but still very upbeat, still very catchy, and you have to decide which one is going to play on this fine radio show. Will it be Meatloaf's version or Celine Dion's version? You make the decision. Give me a call, 01623 888 730. You can text, you can email, you can send a carrier pigeon as well. But the important bit is that we will be tallying up the votes and you will be deciding. But in the meantime, let's rock out to a bit of Whitesnake. And here I go again. It feels a wee bit cheeky while you're choosing between a cover and original to stick the 87 remix version of Here I Go Again by Whitesnake on for you. It's A Wee Natter. Thanks for joining me this fine Sunday evening. I'm Marc, by the way, in case you ever needed to know it, to tell the police what you were up to and needed an alibi. And a little moment ago we were asking about those things that you tried once you went, no, this isn't for me. Well, somebody has anonymously got in touch saying, cooking is not for me either. I used to skip school when it was cooking lessons. All that faffing, lol. I'm kind of with you there, although I did turn up to, they called it home economics when I did it at school, which is a little while ago, and they forced it on everyone. Nobody got out of it. You didn't get to go to woodworking class or anything like that. Everyone had to do home economics. And I got kicked out the classroom for burning onions and being just a general hazard. So you can imagine how often I'm calling the fire brigade. It's got to the point where they hear the phone ringing, they visit my place before they check out what the call was.
Covers versus originals.
Indeed, it's that bit where we're putting you, yes, you in charge of the playlist, dear listener. You're choosing between Meatloaf's version of It's All Coming Back to Me Now and Celine Dion's version of It's All Coming Back to Me Now. It's awfully, awfully close. If you have not voted, dear listener, do it now during this next song, because you could be making the deciding vote. It is that level of close. And which one will play? Well, you'll find out after this one from the Robert Cray Band, right next door, because of me, as asked for by Henk. And because you asked so nicely, Henk, here it is for you on A Wee Natter.
I can hear the cup.
A bit off the beaten track, but don't worry, I'm not going to do my John Peel impression. Robert Cray Band, right next door, because of me. It's A Wee Natter, by the way. Thanks for joining me this fine Sunday evening. Glad to have you on board. And, well, we don't always play songs that are far off the beaten track, but we are going to play a song that you chose in just a moment.
Bowe Radio would like to thank all our sponsors. We couldn't be here without you.
Indeed, this is Bowe Radio. A special thanks to our supporters, including Allerton and Booton Town Council, Notts County Council, One Intent, Abebe Motors, Row Creative, the Workshop Freemasons and Freemasons of Bassett Law, Solar Frame of Goldfort for our windows and door, and Sherwood Grange Care Centre as well.
Covers versus originals.
Now, you probably think, when I say that votes are very, very close in this sort of thing, where you're choosing between two versions of the same song, and it's down to you. Now, I'm just building things up for tension. I'm making it up. Well, this time, it literally came down to a single vote making the decision as to which version of It's All Coming Back to Me Now is going to play right now on this fine radio station as chosen for you. By you, sorry. Is it Celine Dion or is it Meatloaf? It's, of course, Celine Dion. And on a slightly different note, I did promise there was something big we were going to be talking about on this fine radio show. Find out what it is after the song that you chose. As chosen by you in covers versus original, Celine Dion's version of It's All Coming Back to Me Now. And one of the things I promised, dear listener, is that we would have a very big announcement here on A Wee Natter. And to help bring us to the fact that it's a big announcement, I've got Jenny on the line with me.
Hello.
Yes, you are there, Jenny. Sounding, with the delay, it makes it sound like that we've got lots of money and we've got satellite links and things like that. You're literally a couple of miles down the road, hunkering down at the thought of there being spiders within miles of you. That's the reason you're there, isn't it? But
it is, yeah.
Yeah, if we're going to do a big announcement, we've got to do it with big music. Although I will warn you, dear listener, I want to temper your expectations. The budget of this thing's about £3.50 in a pack of discos. So it can't be big, but it is big, which means, of course, we've got to get the very, very big music out. What music do you think I'm playing here, Jenny?
It's not the Wee Fit.
Indeed, if you're going to do something big, you've got to do the music from 2001: The Space Odyssey, haven't you? Which is about the only time you'll hear anything as cultural as classical music on this fine radio show. But the big thing that we're launching, well, it's me, I'm quite a big chappy. We're going to do something that we're going to call Slim Timber, dear listener. It is the 1st of September. Christmas is a-coming. We're at the point where mince pies and Christmas cake are already in the shops, aren't they? It's ridiculous, isn't it? It's ridiculous, right? So they're already there. They're already tempting you. They're going to be tempting you for 4 months now. So in preparation, I need to lose more than a pound or two. So throughout September, my challenge is to lose a stone of weight. Do you think I will manage it, Jenny?
No, not as what you've had today.
Charming. I asked for a bit of backing and inspiration. Do you think I'll manage it? No chance, mate. Not gonna happen. I've put 20 quid on it on Ladbrokes. You're gonna fail, pal. But to give you some genuine, honest numbers, dear listener, I'm a chunky boy. 21 stone, 9 pounds, 303 pounds, or 137 kilograms in metric. So I'm one of those ones where, yeah, they do play 2001: A Space Odyssey if I ever walk up on stage somewhere. It's to cover the boom, boom, boom as I walk on stage. So that challenge is to try and lose a stone in that time. Do you think it'll happen? Or are you going to join me on the journey as well, dear listener? You could try it out yourself, only if, well, it works. And you need to lose weight. If you're already lost enough weight, don't do it. Get medical advice and all that. So we're going to turn it into Slim Timber, and by the end of that September, I'll be in a position where we can start to taste mince pies ahead of Christmas. What do you think, Jenny? Do you think it'll work?
Well, I'm hoping so, because obviously I start to put my Christmas cupboard together, don't I, from September. I buy little bits each week, so I don't realise how much I've got until on the day, and then I just pull absolutely shed loads out of the cupboard. So in order for me to help you test those possibly mince pies this year, I think I'm going to challenge myself to lose a stone as well.
Oh, you're going to go that far as well? You're going to see if you can make it happen. Well, if you want to know the level of confidence that the bosses have in this deal, because we passed this by them, they said, this is what we do. When we do something, we're going to call Slim Timber. Want the listeners to get involved as well. And they said, right, when you announce it, stick this song on. I don't think they've got the confidence either. It's Alphaville, Big in Japan, and A Wee Natter from Bowe Radio and Fatcham Town Radio 2. A song that Cheryl used to pick all the time on jukeboxes. Alphaville, Big in Japan, and part of the boss is also sending me a message saying, no, you've got no hope at this, son. I'm setting out on a wee challenge to see if I can lose about a stone of weight over the course of a month, which, yes, admittedly is a bit faster than you normally do and probably not the healthiest thing in the world, but I'm sure if I just eat raw vegetables all month, it'll be fine, it'll work out. And a few of you have been making your opinions known about whether this is possible, getting me from hey fatty boom boom to being much more svelte. Vicky Fairweather saying, if you'll do it. So a bit of positivity there. Sandra Owens pointing out that apparently there's 12 sins in a mince pie. I assume that you have to, ask forgiveness from a priest when you eat a mince pie then. I guess that's what you're on about with sins. And Hank saying, not a chance, ain't going to happen, because he thought I was talking about losing a stone in a week, which is possible to do, but generally means that you're not particularly well at that point, because it all comes out your mouth, and it's a very bad week. On that note, there are some things that you see on the telly only when you're ill at home and in the daytime, because the rest of us, we work for a living. Find out about something I spotted on daytime TV recently after this one from Earth, Wind and Fire. It's September. In September, weirdly enough. Keeping the whole 1st of September thing going there with Earth, Wind and Fire. So, A Wee Natter, thanks for joining me this fine Sunday evening. I'm Marc, by the way, in case you need to tell the police what happened here. And on a slightly different note, one of these things that when I was growing up in a household where I had two parents with a medical background. That meant if I was a bit sick or a bit sniffly or something like that, I did not get a day off. I had to basically have a limb falling off or be going down with Ebola or something like that before I'd be allowed a sick day from school. I was like, no, that's not deadly enough. You go in there. I don't care that the rest of the kids will die of it. You go in there, you're not dead. Go. That's what it's like for me as a kid. So I didn't see much daytime TV, but I was doing a piece the other day, doing some bit of work, and I was around somebody's house, and they had daytime TV on in the background. It doesn't happen very often, so if I've not encountered it in a while. And they had the TV show Escape to the Country playing on the telly, which, if you've ever seen it before, it's like a completely different world, right? So me and you, if we need to rent a house, buy it, be lucky enough to buy a house or something like that, we have a very normal budget, normal jobs, and we get very normal looking houses. With Escape to Country, it's absolutely crackers. It's like a different world. It's like, he's a dog whisperer and she's a competitive cupcake eater. They've got a budget of 15 million quid to find something in outer Mongolia. It's unreal. Where do they find these people from? And more importantly, where do they find these daft jobs that pay, quite frankly, a ridiculous amount of money?
Greetings, loved one.
Katy Perry and Snoop Doggy Dogg before he came Snoop Lion, and then back to Snoop Dogg again because he just keeps changing his mind like that. It's A Wee Natter on Bowe Radio, where I was Marc. I was playing you California Girls on the radio. Hope you enjoyed that one. And in just a wee moment, we will be doing Mission Musical Freedom, and this week is prompted by something I saw on the roads. Find out what it is all after this one from Bad English.
Smile at me.
What I love about this radio show, dear listeners, it starts all sorts of weird and wonderful conversations, including one right now about how many calories there are in a two-finger Kit Kat, because it's really important, because Jenny needs to make sure she can get her fix of Kit Kats on this challenge that we're doing to lose a stone of weight over it. Slim Timber, I think we're calling it, because it's nice and catchy like that, isn't it? You've got to give these a sort of marketable name. But yeah, she's asking how many calories there are, because she's got to be able to budget for it, so she's going to give up on enough apples to make room for the Kit Kat. And fair play to her. I would do the same as well.
Mission Musical Freedom.
Indeed, it's that part of the show where we try to sneak it past the bosses. Yes, usually when you're listening to a radio station, the selection of songs that you hear, it's quite a limited selection, because the bosses want to ensure that the songs you hear the moment you tune in are top-notch, brilliant songs. But the downside of that means that there's a whole bunch of others that we're not normally allowed to play that should have to sneak on the radio. And we've built a little tunnel all the way up to the music library. It's got all the records and the tapes and the CDs and even some digital files in there as well that normally we're not allowed to share with you, dear listener, but we have snuck them through. The bosses haven't noticed it's going on, probably because they aren't listening, if we're quite frank, but the bosses haven't noticed, and I use it as an opportunity to share a song you wouldn't otherwise normally hear. And this week, the inspiration to me came when I was on the way to work one morning. So I get to the end of the road and I get stuck behind, waiting for a chance to get out onto the main road. One lorry goes past, then two, then three, then four, 5 lorries with the same branding on them. They are, when you put them all together, what one might refer to as a convoy. So of course, Had to play this.
Breaker 19, this here's a rubber duck.
Keeping the September theme going with Carol King, and it might as well rain until September. Before that, C.W. McCall and Convoy. Yeah, we got ourselves a Convoy. Dandelion saying, oh, this reminds me of CB Radio. What fun. Yeah, you'll get me admitting, I may have had a rubber ducky or two in my time, but I'm not admitting to the burner that was plugged in the back of the rig. Never happened. Don't know about it, officer. Don't know what you're on about. And also Cheryl in touch saying, watched the Convoy film last Sunday. Did Chris Christopherson sing the song, or was he just in the film? He was just in the film. It was somebody else that did the singing. But I see where you made that connection there. And also Jenny getting in touch as well. She should be here with me for the Wee Natter, but she is away on super secret mission and we can only bring her around for a little moment. She's saying, I was going to say that about the CB radio. It reminds her of that time and what fun it was. Now, the real fun bit would be if somebody admitted what their handle was on the CB radio, but I don't think anyone's going to be that level of honest. Are you going to be that person, listener? Yeah, probably not.
The Super Shonky Sunday Quiz.
A Wee Natter with Jenny and Marc Steele on Bowe Radio.
It is the top quality quiz where it's so cerebral it has just one question and so good that it has, well, no prizes other than you get one of these if you know your stuff, or otherwise you get if you're a bit more like me, dear listener. And the question this week that I want you to take a punt at is, which novel, yes, we're on about books, we're being all cerebral again, which novel begins with a line, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times? Yeah, we've all heard that line, but I'm struggling to remember which book it's from. Which book do you think it's from? If you think you know, give me a call, 01623 888 730. You can text 073 79 78 49 00. You can email requests at bowradio.co.uk, or you could send your trained pack hound over with it tied round its neck with the answer on it. The only thing is you've got to get it in the next couple of songs, so that might be a bit of a challenge if you're more than a couple of miles away, but I want to hear your shots on that question. Who wrote those lines? I do wonder if it's a sign of the times that we've been talking about CB radio on this fine radio station. It's 2024. It's a Wee Natter from Bowe Radio, Fashion Town Radio 2. How you doing? I'm Mark. Thanks for joining me this fine Sunday evening.
The Super Shonky Sunday Quiz.
A Wee Natter with Jenny and Marc Steele on Bowe Radio.
And it is indeed the top quality quiz where, well, we don't have any prizes, but you do get a if you're right or a if you're not so right. Well, Stephen's been in touch telling us about, well, a book that started with it was the best of times and it was the worst of times. He took a shot at which book that was going to be and he got the correct answer. Hank has also been in touch mentioning not just the book but the author as well, and saying that he opened with was the best of times, it was the worst of times, and his answer was... Will your answer be the same? Well, there is only one way to find out. You can give me a call, you can give me a text message. Unfortunately, you may have heard the phone ringing in the background, dear listener. We are a high quality, high budget establishment. We have people that answer phones for us. No, we don't. It's just me here. So if I'm talking to you on the radio, I can't answer the phone. I can only apologise. I'll go and see if there's a voicemail if you've taken a shot at it as well. But you've got one more song to work it out. And because I'm kind, and because Jenny asked as well, we'll make it a nice long one from Chris Rea. It's Josephine. When's the last time you heard this one? On Bowe Radio, on Fashion Town Radio as well. Rare wee treat for you there, Chris Rea and Josephine. It's a cracking wee song, to the point I have somebody in the studio with me that agrees with that. It is the little moth that has just joined me on this fine piece of equipment in front of me that lets me press buttons and you get to hear all the songs and things, dear listener. I'm not joking, there is genuinely a moth that has joined me in the corner. I assume it's just a very big Chris Rea fan.
Bowe Radio would like to thank all our sponsors. We couldn't be here without you.
This is Bowe Radio with special thanks to our supporters, including Allerton and Booton Town Council and Notts County Council, One Intent, Abib Motors, Row Creative, the Workshop Freemasons and Freemasons of Bassett Law, Solar Frame of Goldthorpe for our windows and door, and Sherwood Grange Care Centre as well.
The Super Shonky Sunday Quiz.
A Wee Natter with Jenny and Marc Steele on Bowe Radio.
How are you getting on with our challenging wee question? We were going all cultural and talking about books, weren't we? Yes. Question being, which novel begins with the line, "It was the best of times, it was the worst of times"? And a few of you have been lucky enough to get with your guesses. And I've had one more guess come in. It's not the Moth. The Moth hasn't taken a guess. But it is from Cheryl asking, is it Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities? Cheryl. That is the correct answer. It's one of those quotes where I've heard it so many times, I couldn't have told you which book it comes from. So if you managed to get the correct answer, very, very well done to you. And on a slightly different note, we take communiques from offs if they come, with little messages along with them. We take almost any form of message other than, I think, Morse code. I think we'd struggle a bit with that one. But Paula's been in touch on the email, listening from home apparently, saying, "Good evening, could you please play Christina Perri, 1,000 Years? It's one of my favourite songs. Thank you." Well, you did say please and you did say thank you, but so because you asked so politely, Paula, here it is, Christina Perri in 1,000 Years on A Wee Natter from Bowe Radio, Faction Town Radio 2, and anywhere else we can think to get in front of you. One of those songs that you forget exists till you hear it, you go, oh yeah, I love that one, Kiki D and Star. Before that, another song like that, Christina Perri, 1,000 Years. It's A Wee Natter. Thanks for joining me. I've got something that, well, it sounds like gossip when I say this, but somebody has gone and got a very big pay rise recently. So big that your jaw will hit the floor when you hear how big it is. I'll tell you what it's all about after this from Boston, if I could get my words out. It's Amanda. The punchline to a fairly tasteless joke nowadays. Amanda from Boston. It's A Wee Natter from Bowe Radio. Thanks for joining me, and we're on Faction Town Radio 2 as well. I'm Marc, by the way, in case you need to provide evidence in a case against me at some point. But going from one form of tasteless to another, it turns out somebody has received a very big pay rise, and it's kind of gone under the radar a bit. And I'm not talking about the Gallagher brothers getting back together because there's a divorce going on and things like that, trying to pay for it out of tickets for their shows. It's not that lot. It is, of course, Good King Chucky, which means when we got mentioned his name, we got to stand up, a bit hand across our hearts, for the national anthem. Where people are starting to burn whatever firewood they can get their mitts on and realising some of it wasn't such a good idea to burn in the case of some of my neighbours. The Good King Chucky has got a pay rise because there's a whole bunch more money going into the Crown Estate. He managed to get, it's a lot more than you've ever got in a pay rise, listener. It's a lot more than I've ever got in a pay rise. He has got 45 million quid coming next year. That's a serious amount of money. 45 million quid on top of all the bits he earns otherwise, and that's a grand total of something like 132 million quid a year he's looking at. That's not too shabby, and he'll claim, I need it for a bit of DIY, you got to do up, all the palaces I've got to look after and things like that. I wish, I'm not even asking for 45 million quid, but I wish that the government would pay for my DIY, because at the moment I'm trying to put a curtain rail up, right? And I'm having to, take it down the old one, fill all the holes, repaint, all the all the trips back and forth to the DIY shop, because I go, oh yeah, I kind of forgot about that next step. It's adding up to a lot of money. I'm going to be sunk by it. So if they want to send a grant my way to cover it, that would be fantastic. I'm happy to take taxpayers' money for that. A song now probably be better known as Get the Cool Shoe Shine, but it's really known as 192000. It's the Gorillaz, and before that, Phantom Planet in California. I'm Marc, thanks for joining me this fine Sunday evening. And it turns out, I mentioned a wee bit earlier, you can watch the radio on Mixcloud and Twitch TV. And if you're on there, you would have seen that I've got a t-shirt on. It's got a wee pattern on it that apparently looks like a bunch of microphones. And what the little puzzle that I set you was to go on the internet and try and figure out what pattern I've got on my t-shirt. I gave you a little clue in that it's connected to Guinness, but it's not little, glasses of Guinness. Find out what it is that's on my t-shirt after this one from The Emotions. I realise it's a bit like the old black and white TV clip where they're going, if you're watching in black and white on the snooker, the green ball's the one that's behind the red ball, that kind of stuff. But on the wireless, on this fine radio show, dear listener, we've been asking about what pattern is on my t-shirt, and a little clue I gave you, because you find people have been watching on the internet on Mixcloud and Twitch TV. The clue I gave you is it's connected to Guinness, but it's not little glasses of Guinness. It is, of course, little toucans. You see the connection now, don't you? Well done to you if you managed to figure out what was on my t-shirt. I've got to agree with Cheryl on this one. Chicago's best song. I agree with you, Cheryl. You're the inspiration. It's A Wee Natter from Bowe Radio and Fatcham Town Radio 2. I'm Mark. I'm sorry to say that's about it for this week. I know I'd love to do more, but I do have to give up control to somebody else. So what I will recommend is if you do stick with Bowe Radio, then tomorrow night from 4, Marc will be playing you some classic records, and then swiftly behind them will be Paul Redfern as well. And we've got a whole bunch of other nights there as well. Just keep tuning in. Who knows what you'll be listening to? But I can tell you for right now, we've got Diana Ross and Chain Reaction. Catch you next time.